as we already went through all of the parts of the synthesizer, oscillators and everything, it will be easy to explain pitch. So considering that we have an oscillation right here, a sine wave, and to explain to you how pitch changes is actually how often does this repeat in a unit of time. Meaning that if this oscillates faster, if we have this oscillator playing faster, we are going to get a higher pitch. If we play that slower in succession, we are going to get a lower pitch. You can see that right here on the spectrum analyzer. So if I play a lower note like this, I get a lower pitch. If I play a higher note, I get a higher pitch. Considering that this oscillator always produces the same waveform over and over and over again, and that the pitch does not change in time, we have a musical tone. Since the pitch is not changing, we get that musical tone where we can actually decide on the pitch. Like this. Now consider for a second that we might have, let's say, a kick drum like this, any kick drum, out of anywhere, let's say a 909, doesn't matter, just like this. Now when we play this kick drum, this kick drum does not have an actual pitch, since the pitch of this kick drum is changing really fast during the duration of this kick drum. So as it is changing, we can just call this noise, but it's not uncertain that we can say that it does not have any kind of pitch resemblance, since if we played any kind of a snare drum, let's say a snare drum, let's say a snare, let me find one, like this. So if I played a snare right there, so we can say that the bass drum has a lower pitch than the snare drum. And this is why we call it a bass drum, since it has a lower pitch and the lowest pitch actually in the drum kit. So even though the pitch in this bass drum is changing, it is in all of its parts lower than most of the parts that the snare drum has. Now these are uncertain pitch sounds, but the sounds that have an actual repeating waveform that does not slow down or speed up, meaning that the pitch does not change, we call those musical tones. And it does not really matter what waveform this is. I could also play a sawtooth. And even though it has all the harmonics, the fundamental harmonic of this sawtooth, the first one, is the one that determines the pitch of this sound. Now, from all the pitches that we can hear, we can still go from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, the human hearing range. And all of the musical tones are, of course, right in there, and all the tones that we can hear from the drums and all the noises are also in there. So meaning that the pitch is nothing more than the speed of the oscillation in the sound that we are actually considering. So this is what pitch is, speed of oscillation of a certain sound. Now in the next lesson we will talk about scales, and in scales you will see certain specific pitches in the node system and how they are actually dividing this entire spectrum of frequencies.